Shot of Hope live.
I don't appreciate drug addicts in my town.
Pouring recovery and hope directly into your ears, one episode at a time. With your recovering radio outlaws, Mickey the Kid.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
And the sober gangster.
We don't use the word insane. We prefer the term mentally hilarious.
It's Shot of Hope live.
Me.
There he is. Joel Anthony. Big old
What's up, guys?
eggnog. Is that the old up north the eggnog there, or what do we got going on here?
No, man, we just got coffee today. Coffee with, I think it's a white chocolate raspberry mocha creamer.
Oh, gee whiz, look at old fancy pants over here.
Fancy.
I like
I need my Ugg boots on and my little vest and everything, my North Face.
this guy.
Put my leggings on.
The minute you got Uggs on, buddy, I have to get the mail card in the mail, all right? Just for send
Right.
it right up, all right? It's all we're talking about.
Revoke my man card.
So how are you doing personally? You are a very good friend that I just absolutely love. Family, you, Chris, Jason, Tim, all these guys I've got such a great support group, such a great group of guys. How are you doing personally? Find family, holidays and work. How you doing?
Honestly, man, I mean, everything's going well. I mean, I have my moments, it gets kind of hectic around this time, especially for me. I get home kind of late. I work for Amazon, so I'm out there being the Santa Claus, driving my big blue sleigh. So I don't get home till late sometimes, and past couple nights I have missed out on my son, and that kind of eats at me a little bit, because I leave and he's asleep. I come home and he's asleep. Same thing with my daughter. And that gets to me a little bit, with my job and the holidays. But besides that, I mean, life is good, man. We're getting ready for the holidays and everything.
You guys you all Christmased up and everything?
Oh, dude. Christmas tree and everything.
You got
we got it going, man. We got it going.
You got your
we're getting ready for the holidays.
You got your own
Time to order
personal, thank God.
Time to order the pies.
So, man, as of late, I've been, obviously you see, and I can get to do these podcasts now. It's kind of a rarity because of the work hours that I'm doing. And what I may do, starting after the first of the year is I think Shot of Hope Live is going to go to 8 to 9. I think I'm going to have to push it back an hour. Just because working in the car business and trying to maintain this kind of schedule, it can be absolutely grueling, because I get home from the dealership at around 7:15, 7:30, and that gives me 30 minutes to prep and be ready to rip. So,
right. You got to evolve. You evolve, we adapt. We adapt to our surroundings. However it goes, man, we adapt.
Yeah, I'm a chameleon, and I will change colors in 2 seconds to make it fit, because this is something I'm passionate about, and I feel really bad on when I miss an episode of doing this, man, because of my commitment to helping people. I feel guilty because I feel like somebody missed something that night, and maybe that could have been the one episode, the one 15 seconds of somebody's life that just impacted. And I'm not saying just me, because I don't think I'm that special, but
no, I get it.
The conversation hears it here. I've had some really great compliments from people because it's raw.
It is, man.
Real. It's it doesn't have to be crass and F this, we just don't we don't roll like that. I mean, we get a little animated on this thing, but at the end of the day, this is all about the message. It's carrying that message. It's step 12 work that we're trying to do. And
absolutely, man. Our message becomes our message,
Yeah.
when
the video has to match the audio, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I try to be, I like to keep my feet moving. I like to keep people, knowing that, I'm here for you every week. And on those weeks that I miss, man, it hurts. So as we were talking before the show, I've been seeing a lot of reels. Obviously, I kind of let you in on you're kind of new anyway, but I had lost my nephew a couple weeks back. And, family is riddled with guilt, the mother to my son's mom, his aunt, and all these people, blame. And, at the end of the day, the addict, I've been seeing some guys, some recent Facebook reels that have been talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, and how to navigate to the other side of it so that it's not like something that is crippling to people, because our trauma, if we go back, and maybe some people didn't use over trauma, man. I don't know. I think trauma is a great fuel for the active addict. The active
Yep.
the active addict. I think trauma, because it gives us an excuse to use even more. Because if you had my life, if you had my experiences, you would feel you would drink and use too. And I heard this doctor, he talked about post-traumatic stress disorder, and he says, it's a very real thing. However, it doesn't have to be a very real thing for a very long time. And he said that, it's easy for somebody to go get a medical marijuana card and, alleviate, go get all these pills and all this stuff to alleviate the quote unquote, take down the symptoms of the post-traumatic stress. But he said, but the real work is navigating through that. And that's letting go, cutting the cord on that trauma, cutting the cord on that memory, on those memories, those people, whatever. I heard some guys last night at a meeting, man, and it was the one dude was struggling to forgive himself. He's like, I lost a friend, from fentanyl or whatever it was. And he says, there I was, when at his funeral, using the same shit. I was high at his funeral. And I feel so guilty about it. And I grabbed that dude after the meeting and I said, man, this program is about forgiveness, freedom. It starts with forgiveness. And the most importantly, I doubt your friend for any reason ever would want you to be down here living in guilt and shame and remorse over the fact that you went to his funeral high. I think that what he is going to be shining and smiling on you about is the fact that you're being an example of recovery. And I said, God already forgave you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So forgive yourself, man. Drop that rock, dude. There's no reason to carry that sack of shoulda, woulda, couldas with you.
It's true, man. And you're right. Like that's a big thing in recovery, man. Letting go, letting go of the trauma, letting go of past relationships. And you're right. You do have to forgive yourself. You are your own star player. You are your MVP. And you have put yourself through a lot of shit. Some of us 20, 30 years. But
real talk.
Those things don't define us. Like they just don't define who we are. And we must forgive ourselves. We have to tell ourselves, like, we may have made wrong decisions, we may have done wrong for others, but we've also made amends with those people. And if these people can forgive us, why can't we forgive ourselves? It's real simple. And you can't really dwell on certain situations. And I remember this one time. So I got a phone call and my cousin ended up dying from a drunk driver. She got into a car and the person was drinking and she ended up dying. The night before, she called me and she was like, hey, I'm at this party. You should come through. I'm like, nah, I'm busy, whatever. And then the next morning I get that phone call. And I remember for a minute, it sat with me. And I'm like, damn, like if I would have went, maybe she would have left with me. Maybe she wouldn't have died. Maybe if I would have went, I would have changed the situation. But she's dead because I didn't show up, and I sat there for a long time and felt that way until I finally understood, like, there's nothing I could have done differently. Even if I showed up, she probably still would have left with this person.
Yeah.
I can't sit there and blame myself. I can't blame myself for situations like that, and I guess I have to agree with you, man. You really have to forgive yourself for some things,
Yeah. And that's just one part of it. It's
right.
The hardest part of all this is, again, it's when we get into that 4-step work, in recovery, when you're making that fearless and searching more inventory, and that trauma's there, you can't hold on to that shame and guilt.
Right.
Of whatever happened to you, whether you were sexually molested, whether you had your heart ripped out, whether your dad beat you senseless,
right.
All this trauma, man, because 99% of the people that you sponsorship or people you're going to talk to that are in these fellowships have already all been through it, man. And none of us are unique. And if you're new and you're watching this, the one thing I want to tell you is that everybody has been through something. in
Mhm.
fellowship you're going to go to. It doesn't matter if you're in Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, whichever
Right.
fellowship you decide, or all CD Anonymous. There's so many different ones. Chemical dependence. There's so many substance abuse fellowships out there, and they're popping up all over the place. And wherever you choose to, as I tell people, get in where you fit in. But if you never deal with that trauma and that gnawing feeling that makes you feel less, and that causes you anxiety, that causes you to have panic, that you're not good enough, and it's that time of year is coming around again where so and so died, or and you're still holding on to that. There's nothing wrong. It's like I told this young man last night. I said, man, quit living the misery, live in the celebrations that you guys shared together. When his passing comes around, dude, that's a time to remember him and remember the good old days that you guys did have.
Remember the good times you guys had,
Right. Don't use these as traumas to find a crutch what happens is it becomes a reservation in the back of your mind. Well, if this doesn't get any better, well, fuck it, I'm just going to use.
Right.
If I don't, and everybody, not everybody, I shouldn't say everybody. That's a bad statement. There are people in these fellowships that I attend that I see that struggle with, chronic relapsing, and it's what am I not willing to let go of, or what am I not willing to do to have a better life?
Right. There's always that underlying cause. There's something. Yeah. There's something that causes you to hop back on that train. There's some thought that ran through your mind that made you go, I'm gonna go pick up again. I'm gonna go drink again.
But where's the thought that made you question it? Right.
And that's what you got to think about. That's
the identification. That's the identification that we have to come to a term. And this is where now I get to the point where I either say, F it, if I call that sponsor, or if I call that guy, he's just going to talk me out of doing what I want to do. You see what I'm saying? So there's and it's the thing is we have to act our way into better thinking, because once you put the drugs down, ain't nobody. Let me tell you something. When you stop using in step one, which step one is, the principle is honesty. It's your first admission. I've admitted I'm powerless over drugs and alcohol. My life has become unmanageable.
You have to be 100% in on that. You can't half-ass that. Be like, yeah, I think no.
One you have to do every day.
Absolutely, dude.
You have to do it 100%. Step two, which is the principle of step two, is hope. And that's that hope piece that we're getting, is that now that we made this honest appraisal and a decision and total admission that I am an absolute degenerate, man, and I just can't piece shit together. The step two is that restored to sanity. Now, that restored to sanity doesn't mean next week, next month, next 3 months, next year, next 5 years. It doesn't mean any of that.
Right.
All it is, it gives you the hope that if I stay in this fellowship, if I do this work, that I possibly could be restored to sanity. And the insanity of that is the problem is we come in just absolutely insane. Once we put the drugs down, oh my God, well, I'm feeling more now, because now you've given me this opportunity to feel everything that's going on in my life, and I don't like the way it feels.
Right. I think that's the hard part for a lot of people too, is sitting with your feelings sober, clean and sober, not all foggy, not all fucked up, like clean and sober. Like that's hard for some people.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
And that's the problem. And people are trying to, they can't figure out why do
I feel like this?
Why do I feel? Well, now I'm feeling.
Thing is you felt like this for a long time.
I don't like the way this feels.
Right.
This trauma doesn't feel good. These emotions. And, it was like I had this biker guy from Jersey, man, my first sponsor, Henry. And I just remember him telling me, your feelings aren't fucking facts.
Right there.
That was the first thing he told me. Your feelings aren't facts.
No.
Just because it tells you you're not good enough and that you're a piece of shit or whatever it's telling you doesn't mean that it's true.
Right.
And it's when you act on those feelings, not the facts, that you'll create an excuse to go and get the medicine to feel better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, man.
And that's where we have to get to, because, okay, folks, man, today we put down the drugs. Maybe 3 days clean, 30 days clean, 60 days, whatever it is. You could be 3 years clean and still struggling. Man, there was a person that I saw recently, and she said, I'm struggling with suicidal thoughts. I'm going through depression. I hate this. I don't like the way I'm feeling. And it's just like, wow, man, like that's some real shit.
That's heavy. That's real, man. That's raw.
And I got up and hugged that girl in the meeting, and I was just like, man, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. You just got to come around. That deep rest, that depression is Jim Carrey said it best. He's like, the reason you become so depressed, he said, is your body's telling you need deep rest. And he said, because you're so busy trying to be this avatar, a character. You've been living as this character your whole life, and you haven't rested enough to just be you. You're trying to live up to everybody's expectations, trying to be the best work. You're trying to be the best girlfriend, husband, boyfriend, whatever it's going to be. You're not good enough. You're failing in this department, blah, 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 blah. And you're just setting all these high standards. Just live. Right. Just today, man. Just let it all go.
I was talking to a friend of mine who also suffers from depression, since we were talking about that. He's telling me, he's like, man, sometimes I just feel alone. I feel like I'm just in this darkness, and I read this once, and I told him, and I say it to a lot of people. A butterfly is not a butterfly unless it goes through a season of isolation. Sometimes you have to sit in that darkness, and that darkness that you're sitting in is your metamorphosis to become that butterfly, because without darkness, there is no light. So at that moment, if you can convince yourself when you're sitting there and you're having those thoughts, remind yourself, like, you're still here for a reason. Like, if you have a heartbeat, you have a chance. And sometimes that darkness is your in between of leveling up to the next level. It's all about, to me, it's all about mindset almost. It's that darkness. Look at it as a metamorphosis. That's what it is.
There was this great thing I saw about leveling up, the 3 stages of leveling up, and one was like, stop taking what's happening on your outsides to be what's going on your insides. Then there was something else like, cut away the toxic people in your life that don't benefit you. And the third one is, this was great. This one was great. Change yourself, or become unrecognizable. That's what it is. They said, become unrecognizable to the people who only knew you by your wound.
Mm-hmm.
That pulled it right back, and I was like, oh my God.
That's definitely the 3 ways of leveling up right there. That's deep.
The realest shit ever, though. But when he said that, man, and I was like, he's like, because it's that voice that you hear on Facebook, 3 stages of leveling up. You're going to blah, 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 blah. 2, you're going to blah, blah, blah. And 3, become unrecognizable to those who only knew you as by your wound. And I was like, fuck out of here. Wow.
The same people that used to doubt me now ask me for my advice. The same people that used to be like, you a drunk, you a nobody, you ain't going nowhere in life. Like, all you're going to do is drink your life away. Yeah. These same people, and I'm not shitting you one bit, these same people come around now saying, hey, I noticed you changed your life. I need help. And that's part of being who we are. I could be that person that I used to be and be like, nah, I ain't helping you. Like, you were this person to me, but like, we're not like that anymore. We're not that negative. We look at the positive, and we're here for a reason. For me, I am here to help others. I am here to help that dope head, the meth head, whatever you want to call it. I'm here to help you. That's my purpose.
And it's a great point. But it's so funny. I try to save the world. I had a situation happen just over the weekend. And I had this guy who I've known for years. We share the same birthday. We're both, recovering. Well, at least I'm still recovering. I'm not sure he is. So Facebook messages me out of the blue, blah, blah, blah. We shared some comment. I told him I had cancer. He said, oh yeah, I had cancer too. I'm going through colon cancer and blah, blah, blah. And I spent my entire fortune. Meanwhile, I said, well, hey, if you need anything, you need any money, need some help, let me know. And then it went on to this point where like he was like it was terrible because he was like a crackhead tracking me down for my, like I said I would help him, and then so I tried Cash App and money, and his Cash App was denied, and everything was denied, and he's blowing me up. And the guy who's my dearest best friend in the world, dude, one of my dearest brothers who I'm staying with down in Florida, he said, "Dude, what are you doing?" He said, "You know, if you want to pay somebody's electric bill, because the guy said his lights were on, he goes, pay mine. You're staying with me." You know?
Yeah,
And he's like, "I'm not trying to be a dick." He goes, "I'm just trying to show you you're going to give this maniac fucking money, and he's blowing you up." He said, "You don't see something wrong with the situation? You don't see
the red flag, man.
Like you don't see what's going on here?" And I had to call my wife and apologize to her, and I said, and then he started texting her, calling her, because he used to be a family friend, and and it was just like, it was wild, dude. It was shot out, and I felt like, man, it just showed me the insidiousness of this disease. And you know, he was like, "Oh yeah, if you help me out, I'll pay you back on Monday." And well, Monday came, and you know, I'm hoping that, quote unquote, he got his paycheck. He's not working, but you know, I hope he got the lights on.
I'll gladly pay you tomorrow for a cheeseburger today.
Yeah, so I'm sitting in this truck with my buddy and my dear friend, and he just said this, man. He said, "Let me ask you this question, Michael." He said, "When the plane's going down, whose oxygen mask are you going to put on first? You got to put yours on first, because you can't help anybody else."
Absolutely.
And it made all the sense. And I was just like, fuck. You know,
I mean,
right.
It's true, you know. I mean, I wouldn't say we're here to save the world, you know. We're not here to save the world. We're here to do our part.
Yeah.
But like, you're right. You know, sometimes we need to be more aware too of those little red flags. Like, I'm here to help you. Like, if I'm starting to get, I'm a real good judge of character, and I try not to judge people, but like, I'm usually spot on. And like, and I can usually tell talking to somebody if something is rubbing me wrong.
Well, when he told me
I'd love to help.
Hey, bro, and he was sniffling like, you know, "Hey, bro, you know, it just, you know, you know, you can send to my daughter's Cash App," and you know, and I was just like, "Oh my God, dude!" I'm like, "You are an absolute fucking mess, kid. I wish you could get well. I hope you get well." And I just prayed for him every night, dude. But again,
it's all you can do, man.
Again, you know what? He was clean for like 4 years, and you know, and then he, you know, there was a lot of blaming. He was blaming his brother for some shit, and his girlfriend for some shit. And I was just listening to all this stuff, taking all this information, and in hindsight's 2020. And I'm just like, man, what trauma came back? You know, that
what is it that triggered that him to fall off
forward? You know,
right?
It's like who was it? The slip. SLIP, you know, a slip. It stands for
that was me.
Lost its priority. That was
sobriety lost its priority. Yes, sir. That was me.
When you said that, dude, that like echoed with me. It was a resounding. It was a profound statement, dude. And
that's true.
You probably heard it from somebody else, and somebody else.
I did. I did. Sit in the meeting.
Shit, we hear from everybody else, and that's the beauty of this fellowship. You know, is that we can share some really magical stuff from our own personal perspective, but a lot of stuff from the wisdom from the guys that we've heard in
man.
The
absolutely. You know, everybody talks about relapses and stuff, but it's pretty much a slip. You know, I don't want to say you lost your way, but what was more important was clearly falling back into drugs and alcohol. You know, your why has to be more powerful than your excuses. You know, if your why is your family, yourself, your job, whatever it is that keeps you sober, that you're like, I'm grateful for these things. When those are more important than, damn, I had a rough day, I'm gonna go drink or I'm gonna go use. You know, when that's more important, yeah, you're gonna relapse, you're gonna slip. But like, your why has to be more important than any excuse you could come up with in your head on why you're gonna go back out and do that. You know.
Yeah, and they say, you know, when the pain of a man's current reality outweighs his fear to change, he'll change. You know, that's the key, you know, one key phrase that just keeps echoing in my head. You know, is that you know, you have to keep trying, you have to keep changing, you have to keep getting more uncomfortable. You know, because if you're getting comfortable, then that means you're doing something wrong.
Right, like I said to you earlier before we went on, get comfortable being uncomfortable. You know, and learn to love it. That's growth.
Yeah, and that's the key. That is at 100% the key, and so that's why I thought of trauma today, man. It was just like, man, all the stuff that's been going on. It's the holidays. This is the most opportune time. This is where desire and opportunity for drug addicts is a bad situation.
Yep.
Hey,
together with family.
we're going to this bar for, to hang out, to see old Jimmy who just came back to town. Oh yeah, man, I'll go and I'll hang out. And man, it's just only takes one. Only takes that. Oh man, I twisted my ankle on the way into the bar. Fuck this. I'm gonna have a drink.
And that's how you
shit hit you.
And that's how you find out how strong you are,
Yeah.
If you know you're not strong, don't put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned about myself. In the beginning of my sobriety, I knew there were places that I couldn't go. I knew that temptation would be there. I knew for me, I just wasn't strong enough to go sit at the bar and order a water and some food.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't ready for that. Now, almost 8 years later, shit, I'll go sit at the bar, watch the game, chat with people around me, drink my Diet Coke and my lemon wedge and eat my Reuben sandwich, and all is well in the world, and I look around at people, and it almost helps me in a way, because like I look at all these people and then I start having the thoughts of how I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like those negative thoughts of all the bad things that I did that I'm not proud of, and I look around and I go, I'm glad I'm not these people, and these people, here's the thing, we're not all the same. These people can drink. These people can be social. They're normal folk.
Yeah.
They'll leave the bar and that's it. They'll go home, enjoy the rest of their night. For me, I would leave the bar before and I'd be like, where's the closest New Hampshire liquor store? Because I'm going to go load up before I go home, because I haven't had enough, but these people, they understand. They can go have a glass of wine and head on home.
Or they can have a non-alcoholic beverage.
Or they can.
They go have non-alcoholic beers. Everybody thinks, they created non-alcoholic beer for alcoholics to enjoy the beer. And I'm like, no, you missed the point.
Thank you. I see it a lot. Like I see people, like I follow all these different pages and stuff, and I see people talk about it, and I never chime in because I just don't, because it's one of those it's like politics. You just don't talk about it,
Close
and like
politics, dude, our books, our literature states very candidly, all you're doing is you're fucking manifesting this fake thing until the real one is appealing. If I go
it's
to
absolutely true.
If I go to the bar and I'm ordering Heineken NA, I'm going to do that 30 times, maybe not even 30, maybe 10 times.
Right. And then you're going to get the real shit.
And I'm not going to have one Heineken NA. I'm going to try and drink 10.
Right.
Because the body's going to tell me, wow, that tastes really good. Yeah, we should better get the next one coming because this one's almost empty. It's starting to get more warm.
Right. I just don't
tell me that behavior, because that is the manifestation of the disease. It's you're fooling yourself. If you maybe you might be able to sit around and drink a 6-pack on a Sunday in the confines of your own home and get away with that for a while.
Exactly. A while.
You'll be able to do it
catch
for years. And then one day,
I'm just going to try a regular one. It ain't going to hurt me.
I can probably drink successfully now.
Mm-hmm. And then guess what? Right back to where you were. I guess I never understood the non-alcoholic beers.
At the present day, if you were drinking for all those years, you've been faking it. It's not, because that disease is progressive. So when you pick up that first time, you're going to be drinking like you drank for the last 10 years.
Yep. I never understood the whole non-alcoholic thing. Maybe that's just me. I mean, my drug of choice was alcohol.
It's for the people who like the taste of beer that don't want to get fucking pulled over and get DUI. That's
pretty much
the guys, the normal people in the world, the fathers out there that aren't fucking their lives up, but want to go have a great time with their buddies.
But they want to make it home safe.
March Madness and fucking have a couple of cold NA beers. They'll probably have 2, maybe 3. They don't need to try and drink 6 or 8 to keep up with the boys who are getting drunk in the table across from them.
Right. Like my big question that I've wanted to ask, like when I see people, I see it on my page too. People are like, oh, what do you think of non-alcoholic beers? Like I said, I see people chime in and everything. But like the question I want to ask the person who's an alcoholic, who's a recovering alcoholic, who is having those non-alcoholic beers, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Like, what is it that you feel inside that by having this non-alcoholic drink, I feel blank? You know, are you doing it to fit back in because you still feel so left out of social situations? Because I'm like, I like whiskey and everything, but like I didn't drink beer because I enjoyed the taste of it.
Bro, it's because they haven't let go of the lifestyle.
Bingo.
I haven't let go completely. I haven't fully, totally admitted
True.
that I'm powerless over my addiction, whatever that is. I'm still holding on. I'm gonna do the. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna trust God, but I'm gonna have a non-alcoholic beer. You know,
Right.
it's again, like I told you, and like I told you, some people do. Dude, I got good luck to all.
I mean, I'm not knocking it. Don't get me wrong.
I am. I am.
You know, if there are people out there that do that, that's on them because that's not my life. You know, that's how I look at it. Not my life.
The literature states since 1939, this shit is it's been right since it has been right. You know, read the chapter to the what is it? Oh fuck. As Bill, what is it? What's the one?
As Bill sees it. Oh, no. As the doctor sees it.
The doctor's opinion. You just go.
Doctor, there we go. Yeah.
Read Dr. Silkworth's fucking examination of the alcoholic. It is a 3-part disease. It is the spiritual malady, the mental obsession, and the physical craving. And the thing is that if we don't drink, we don't have the physical obsession or the physical craving, but we still have the mental obsession. The mental obsession goes away over time if we ask God to remove that, and that means that if we have God, then that takes away the spiritual malady. So that there I go. So if I'm living spiritually, I have no desire to think about alcohol, then I won't be drinking. It's common sense. I mean,
that's simple. 1, 2, 3.
The guys they couldn't have put it any better. Read how it works. Read chapter to the agnostic. Read all these different things to the wives. You know, it talks about all these different factors of like the guy who thought he could have a glass of milk, pour a shot of whiskey into it in the big book. You know, he talks about that. You know, it talks about all this stuff in the literatures that are out there. Doesn't once too many, 1,000 never enough. And then if you're faking the funk, if you think you're fooling, this is the problem. Is that am I being honest with myself? Because I'm trying to fool myself that I can have this non-alcoholic thing and not think about the real thing. But here's the thing. I'm trying to live back. I want that old life back. See what I'm saying here? You see what I'm saying? I remember how much fun I had in that old life. You know, we're not thinking about the arrests or the DUIs, the hurt families.
Right.
Crying kids waiting for their father not to come home at the front door. You know, the 3 days you've been gone. You know, we're not remembering any of the pain that should be right at the forefront of your mind. It should be there every day.
It should.
Remember that.
Never forget your darkest days.
Why am I thinking about this? Oh my God, I'm thinking about this because, man, I probably need to do some step work on this. I should probably first step these thoughts because there's something in there that I need to get out. It has to be, dude. That's the only thing I can attribute it to.
I mean, it makes sense, dude. It makes perfect sense. You know, I just always felt like I'm an alcoholic, you know, but I don't see myself going to buy a 6-pack of Heineken Zero or anything like that because like I have no inkling for it. Like there's no craving. There's no, I don't want to pop open a non-alcoholic drink because I feel like I'm going to feel good. Like, I don't know, you know, like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like I get what you're saying, you know, it's for the normal drinker that wants to be able to go out, have fun with his friends and not get popped with a DWI on the way home.
Well, and here's the other thing that I think of for the non-alcoholic beers is that non-alcoholic beers are for guys who may be trying to stop drinking on their own. You know, okay, so that I think he might have a problem. I need to find out. You know, I really like the taste of having a cold beer when I come home from work, but I don't want to have a cold beer that's going to lead me to 6 more beers or 12 more until I pass out. That guy's doing the acid test. You know, he's testing to see what the results are going to be if I just try these non-alcoholic. Now, I have a friend. I'm going to tell you right now, my buddy Marco, awesome fucking guy. Started working for an organic non-alcoholic beer company in South Carolina. I forget the name of it. Here in South Carolina, I'm saying back there. I'm here in South
Still
Carolina.
in Florida land.
I know I'm still in Florida. My mind, my brain is still back there. But, dude, he was a sales guy or regional rep for the stuff. He said those beers helped him to quit drinking alcohol entirely. He doesn't even drink anything anymore. He, his other thing is occasionally, he likes to participate in a little of the shrubbery, on occasion. But that's his thing. He's not a drug addict, and he's not an alcoholic. So he's not like me. He's not far from. But he realized
altering his reality.
He realized he was drinking too much, and he liked the vodka, the Grey Goose, and the Red Bulls and stuff like that. And he was like, "Man, I'm just going to start drinking these non-alcoholic beers because I'm getting them from work. You get free product or whatever it is. Maybe he's buying it. I'm not sure." And and he told me, he said, "Man, he goes, you'll love these things." I said, "Well, buddy, here's the thing, buddy. I mean, I'll take him. I'll let my stepson drink them. He'll like that. He's 22." I said, I'm just not trying to dick tease myself with a, fake beer. It's like, what do you, I guess I should, go downstairs and blow some powdered sugar to him, pretend like it's Coke. It's just, it's not going to happen, dude. It's,
right.
I'm not trying to live that, hey, honey, get me one of those non-alcoholic beers and I'm in here chopping up powdered sugar. It's just fucking.
Right.
I just want to really participate in that lifestyle. I just don't want the consequences that come with it.
No shit.
It's an
just
absolute.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me. But
it's the haunted house. It's a haunted house. What's behind door number 3? Inevitably you're gonna open that door and poof, there's the devil, buddy. And it's gonna be a cold. You're gonna be walking through the Walmart, and that 12-pack of regular Heineken is gonna look so much more delicious.
Yep.
Than non-alcoholic 6-pack. That's 3-7 cases over.
Because you really do. After a while, I remember I was at a meeting once and there was this guy. He ended up having 25 years of sobriety and ended up falling off the wagon because he felt after all that time, there was that little voice in his head that said, "You know what? You've been good for 25 years. You know how to handle this."
I think I can.
And he fell right off.
Yeah.
He fell right off the wagon. He goes, and like they say, and he said the same thing. He goes, "I didn't start over. I legit picked up right where I left off."
Oh yeah. But when he came back in, he still has all that history of time.
Right. That doesn't go away.
Right. He still has all that knowledge. He probably knew how to get right back to getting sober again.
And he did. That's why he was back at a meeting. But he goes, after 25 years, I slipped up because I thought that little voice in my head was me talking, but it wasn't. It was the disease talking. You can have one. Go ahead.
Oh, buddy, the greatest liar I know was right in between these two ears, buddy.
Yeah,
he is the greatest liar. I mean, he is convincing. He's going to tell you that
convince you in anything
for past relationships. Like I bullshitted my wife with 7 years. I jumped. Dude, my story is insane. Like I was clean for 7 fucking years. My neighbors, these 2 gay guys in our neighborhood in Bridgewater, Virginia, were having a house, Christmas party, beautifully decorated house. Everybody in the neighborhood, we lived in this cute little bedroom community where everybody just left the fucking doors open and come on down. So we go down I'm walking through the store. I'm like, hey, let me get him a housewarming Christmas gift, or something like that. Something to say Merry Christmas. So I'm looking for like a bottle of wine to take to the house as an offering. I don't drink. So,
right.
And my wife had asked me to get some eggnog. Well, the eggnog was in the back of the Walmart, and all the milk and all the stuff was on the back wall. Right across from that, when I turn around, is all the beers. So,
yep.
And and then the next aisle over was the wine. So I immediately grabbed the eggnog, and then I turn around and the beers are there, and I saw like this purple box, and it had a pirate ship on it. It's like, oh, what is that? Instantly I'm fascinated. I'm like, what is
a little kid?
It's got a pirate ship on it. Fuck, it's gotta be good.
Must be good.
Yeah, it's gotta be good. I never tried that. Fuck. And then there's Guy. He's up there and he's writing with pen and paper. All right, buddy. Well, here's the thing. You can probably try this. Those, your previous 9.5-year traumatic, toxic relationship that you had with your ex was probably 90% of the reason that you drank. And this is what you're gonna tell your fiance on the phone when you call her, because you're gonna get a six of this. I strongly recommend that you deserve this. You're after 7 years of absolutely saying you should do this, and you got this great radio job here in Virginia. I mean, you're the man. You're the man. I mean, who wouldn't be the man? You're the man, guy. So,
Right.
all right, so we're gonna tell her that. Well, actually, we shouldn't call her. Let's text her. Hey, babe, I'm picking up a 6-pack. Did you want anything? And then she texts me back, "You're out of your fucking mind." I said, "Well, here's where we got to work, buddy. Here's where we got to work." So she said, you're out of your fucking mind. Text, "Hey, honey, I believe that I've medicated my past relationships, and I would like to try drinking." And and she's like, "Call me." So I call her, and it's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Are you serious that you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Baby, I was in that toxic relationship with Liz, and it was really bad. And I truly believe that I medicated my problem. I don't think I'm an alcoholic. And I've been doing this for 7 years, and look how good my life is. Look at how let me finish. Let me break my arm, pat myself on the back, because I'm the best guy, greatest guy in the world. Feed me, fuck me, tell me I'm great. It's great. Awesome. Well, if you're getting a 6-pack, get me a bottle of wine." It's like,
there we go, dude.
It was it.
And we're off.
So here's the scary part. So then I get to the party. I bring in the bottle of wine, shake the hands. Everybody in the neighborhood, how are you? How are you? How are you? Having hors d'oeuvres, get into the kitchen. Oh, some Kettle One. A little shot, wife's not looking. Walk around with my same beer in my hand. Walk back around, go through the kitchen. Number one, and there we go. And that's how it's. And then next thing I know, I'm pissed in the bed. My wife hates me forever.
And you're shit-faced.
Yeah, no, yeah. She just wakes up to the sprinkler system, and elbows me right in the face, and is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And it was bad. It's bad. You got to change.
But you only had that couple beers.
Yeah, I know. I brought 3 beers home. I brought three out of the 6-pack. I brought 3 back home. So yeah, who's somebody's fucking lying, and that's I am. That the man I once was will always drink.
Right.
The man I once was will always drink. He will always drink. I know that no matter what, the second that becomes an entertaining idea, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. I'm calling somebody. I got to tell myself immediately because I know where it's going to lead. And then comes my realization. Desire and opportunity show up. All of a sudden, I'm happen to be in a Circle K. Well, now here's the opportunity, and desire and opportunity cross paths. It's a dangerous time for the.
It is, man. I've learned in my 7 years of recovery. I obviously I can't speak for everybody, but I've learned
dangerous times.
I'm not. I'm not a normal person. Yeah. I'm not a normal drinker, and I will never be able to pick up a drink.
Yeah.
Again, I tell myself, for today, I won't.
Just
pick
for
up
today.
A drink because tomorrow could be a different day.
Might be a good idea. Might be a good idea.
But I've told myself, and I've just come to that conclusion. I can't. I can see people drink, and I watch them, and I just remind myself, I'm not them. I'm not them. I'm myself, and I know what drinking gets me into.
What? Don't compare your insides to everybody else's outsides. That's the whole thing. Is when you're busy out there looking at how much fun that you think they're having,
right?
You don't know that they could have a DUI wing.
Right. You don't know what goes on in other people's lives, and if people would take some of these, what do I want to say? If people could treat the world like an AA meeting or an NA meeting, I feel like the world would be a better place. And I say this all the time because
it would be spot on, dude. I'm
that's the thing.
Life and my life has become unmanageable.
That's the thing. I try to tell people, you can take those 12 steps and almost mold them to everyday life. Sure. Just because they're on the walls of NA and AA, you can mold those to your life. You don't have to have a problem. Everybody goes through something in life, whether it's, you could be a straight edge, but you've gone through a bad relationship, but you still hold that inside of you that causes you to feel a type of way. You got to get past that. You got to let go. You got to get over that. You got to find the root of that problem and solve it.
100%.
It's
100%. That's
yes, sir.
That's why I'm so, that's why I'm so anti I guess I guess you could call me anti, non-alcoholic drinks. It's just,
I mean, I'm with you, man. I will never pick up one. I don't understand why
I just
people
think,
who have had problems want them. I'll never get it, and that's okay.
I hear guys, it's interesting because, I had this conversation with the sober gangster, he's like, hey man, everybody's journey is everybody's journey. And I go, yeah, I get all that. But, if you think that, attending Alcoholics Anonymous or any fellowship, and granted, maybe this non-alcoholic beer is not a mind-altering substance in the liquid sense that the alcohol percentages aren't altering your mind.
The thought is.
But what is altering your mind is what's the fact that you have that in your hand. Right? And your mind tells you this is good.
Right. Or you wouldn't be doing it.
And we're just like them.
Yeah.
We're here. We're in the mix with these guys. And if you don't think that's mind altering, that alters your thinking immediately.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely mind altering. The minute they crack the cap on that non-alcoholic and take that first swig, you have created a mindset that's completely different than the work that you've done to get to that point.
Right. It's absolute truth, man. It's absolute truth. And why put yourself in that predicament?
It's just that I just don't understand that. I'm trying. I wish I was some form of psychologist where I could figure this out. Why that you need to convince yourself that non-alcoholic anything is going to help you stay sober, or stay clean, whatever. Because like I said, when the fact that you went through the act, and let me tell you something, when you're going to buy that 6-pack, that non-alcoholic 6-pack, and those butterflies happen in your stomach, and God's telling you, hey man, you're fooling yourself right here. Mm-hmm. I know you can't verbally come down from the heavens and go, hey, you, what are we doing here? He doesn't do that. He's just a little nudge in the stomach, like, oh man, this is dangerous. This feels dangerous. Whew, I feel this. I know this. I think I might have to take a shit. And and all of a sudden you start feeling a little kooky, and then all of a sudden you get that in and you're looking at it sitting there while you're driving, like I'm only going to be home and 8 minutes away from the house. Mm-hmm. I could open one in the car, and you might entertain that, it's not alcoholic.
It's just crazy to me, though. It's just crazy to me because
how the mind changes going through the thoughts, because this is how my mind thinks. That's how
I get it, man. It's absolute truth. Like I don't get it. Like there's something that's triggering in your brain when you crack that non-alcoholic drink open, because if you're not drinking it to get messed up, then grab a Sprite, get a bottled water. Why does it have to be a non-alcoholic beer? Why can't it be anything else?
If you made an effort to go look at it in the case, you've already got this. I
don't want to say you've already failed, but it's almost like your brain is already triggered.
You got to the store once you pass it and then go back and entertain it.
Yep.
And then now all of a sudden the mind starts altering.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know alcohol in it. I can do this.
Right.
It tastes great. I haven't had a beer in 18 years or 10, 6, 3. I haven't had a beer. God, I would love a cold beer on this hot summer day. I just got done cutting the lawn, and I'm just
getting some lemonade.
I can't pick up, fill up my gas can and grab a tin of, Skol, and and instead of
that Minute Maid,
instead of grabbing a lemonade, or going over the big gulp section over here and just
right. With a pack of Marlboros in my big gulp.
I see the Miller Lite sign right there, so I'm just going to track it over and then slide over three.
Those mountains are blue. They're calling my name.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Busch non-alcoholic. Perfect. Yeah, I love that. Right. But then you walk it up and how you feel when you're standing at the counter. Like, you remember when you grabbed that case of beer, what it felt like?
Yeah.
You know,
I feel
fuck,
like
we are getting.
I feel like
down.
now we're talking about this. I honestly feel like I would feel like a loser if I walked up with a 6-pack or a 12-pack
You
of
know why you would
non-alcoholic
feel like a
beer.
loser? You
Yeah.
know why you would feel like a loser? Because you'd be afraid that you'd see somebody from a fucking meeting standing there or walking in the door going, Joel, what's going on here?
But it's non-alcoholic.
I'm picking it up
You know?
from my bro, man. I got my cousin, my brother needed me picking up a bit. My
Nice.
wife's going to a Christmas party. She wanted to take some beers. They need a beer for the cooler. The fucking lies. I mean, come on.
Right.
You know,
I don't know.
Going.
I would feel silly. Like,
Land. You're just going to foo-foo land. That's all it is.
that's it.
Bunch of
Soon
foo-foo.
Yeah.
You know, but when you go, it's the whole, just like when I went to go buy drugs, you know, like, and I got that bag, you know, and I wanted to take a shit. Like I instantly just thought of driving to go get it. When the dude told me he had some gas, like I instantly had to take a dump. I'm like running right to the bathroom right now. Let's get this on the way because I need to be healthy on the drive. You know, and then I get there and I get what I want, and you know, I want to test it, you know, and then I test it at the house, and then I want to test it while I'm driving, and it's probably not a good idea because I can't break it up into lines, you know, but I'll just shove a piece up in there, and yeah, dude,
Just push it around.
yeah, it was just this whole, it was the whole, you know, the bananas thing that with the routine, and that's what I'm trying to talk about. That's that trauma that triggers. Because I haven't done the work, it's going to tell me that I can reward myself,
Right.
and it's going to help me forget the traumas that, you know, because I don't keep the last relapse or, you know, the last drink right here. I don't keep the humility, the disgrace, the humiliation, all that stuff that happened right here anymore because it kind of faded. And I always need to remember, man, that I am a degenerate, drug addict, alcoholic. No matter, I can't fool myself with dick teases and strippers that aren't gonna fuck me. You know what I mean? That's all that is NA beer is a stripper that's not gonna fuck you. It's all it is. You know, she's dancing, she's gonna rub on you, it's gonna feel good for a minute, but it's not.
You ain't getting nothing. Going home with the blue balls.
Yeah, going home with blue balls, dude. Yeah, you didn't get the reaction, the feeling that you set out for.
Right.
And then inevitably that buzz, that brain mechanism in there is going to change that. It's going to want you inevitably over time to get back to the buzz, you know, for the effect, to drink for the effect.
That's the thing. You always got to remember, like you were saying, you know, you got to keep those moments, those times that you remember, like up here. People ask me, you know, well, how do you stay sober? Like, what is something that keeps you sober? And one of the things for me that I always respond with is I never forget my darkest days. You know, I don't forget those days. Even after 7 years, I don't forget those days when I would have seizures. I don't forget the days when I was in the hospital. I don't forget the days that I died at the hospital. I restarted my heart. I don't forget the days of the car accidents. I don't forget the days waking up sick, shaking, throwing up, calling out of work. I don't forget those days.
Yeah.
You know, I could sit here and be like, oh, I remember the good times too, of course. But like, I also remember the shitty times, the times that I prayed for the life that I have now. And that's why I'm grateful for the life that I have now, because I remember the days I would beg for a different life for just 24 hours. Like people reach out to me and they're like, oh, hey, I have 13 days. You know, I know it's not a lot.
That's
Fuck it. It is a lot because there's somebody else out there who prays they can make 24 hours and they can't. So take that 13 days and stand up and be proud.
Yeah.
You know, stand up and be proud. Even 24 hours is a big deal because there's somebody that can't make it 5.
Yeah, bro.
You know?
It was like we celebrate people last night at my meeting. You know, a guy had 22 days, man, and he's a pastor.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, good for you, dude. Keep coming back. There was a girl that had 4 days. So I'm like, good, keep coming back, man. And it's just like, if you like,
you say he was a pastor?
Oh, buddy, he's got to. I can't wait to hear his testimony someday. We're gonna get into it, but yeah, he said he's in a really dark place.
Dude, that's the thing, man. Addiction doesn't discriminate.
Oh, it doesn't, buddy.
You know,
it doesn't.
No. I've sat in meetings. I've sat in meetings with doctors, nurses, business owners. I've sat next to a multi-millionaire, you know, owns a business here in New England, huge realty business. Yeah. And he's sitting there in his suit and tie in an AA meeting. Yeah. You know, addiction does not discriminate, doesn't care what walk of life you are, what religion you are, where you come from, your skin color. It does not give a shit. It will eat you alive if you allow it. You know?
100%. 100%.
You know?
Yeah, and that's why, man, I can't say enough about faking the funk, dude. You cannot fake the funk. You have to do
No,
this
sir.
for hundo.
Absolutely.
Otherwise you wind up dead, or wind up picking up another white. And
You got to be all
that's
in.
another thing. I never want to go through that again. I never want to go through having to pick up that another white key tag, man. It's just like, wow. I
Right.
just like picking up the black ones now. The multiples. That's it.
That's it,
and
man.
get points.
I can't wait to see my double digits. I'll be in March. I'll be 8 years. I know it's coming. But it's one day at a time. I'll make it.
It's one day at a time.
I'll
It's
make
one day
it.
at a time. Oh, I know you
Like
will.
I've made it this far. I say it all the time.
You
People
don't
that are like, "Oh, you just made it sober."
better ring.
If you
Yeah.
could stay sober yesterday, you can stay sober today. It's
Yeah.
that simple. If you were sober yesterday, today is no different. You may run into different obstacles today.
Yeah.
There might be things that hurt a little more today, but you were sober yesterday and went through shit.
Yeah.
Today is no different. Take your pain and recycle it. Use it for something positive.
Mhm.
Because there's a possibility with every single negative thing that happens in your life. There's a positive piece to be learned from.
For every negative, there's a positive. Well, it's like you don't focus on the mess, focus on the message.
Message, absolutely. And sometimes you got to dig deep to find that. You got to dig deep. Sometimes it's right there on the outer shell. You can see it right there. But other times, man, you got to dig deep to find what that positive message is. It's in that negative situation.
Yeah. You have to dig. Sometimes you gotta claw and scratch your way to wherever it's going to be. Sometimes you have to claw and scratch your way through a day.
Mhm.
It's the one thing that I say regularly is that I don't have bad days anymore. What I have is a bad hour, maybe two. Until I move through my pain.
Right.
Because, man, I remember what bad days felt like, and I don't have anything that even compares to what was going on then.
Right.
It's
It even
like,
comes
I
close.
I get a bad couple hours, bad couple minutes, man. Sometimes I can forget some shit in 30 seconds. It just depends on the action and how I respond to it. But when I find myself in a precarious position of discomfort, it's immediate that I identify that and get through that shit. Like an Olympic swimmer, just swim right through that. Run to the
That's
hills.
it.
That's all I can
That's
do.
it. As long as you can identify that the problem is happening at that moment, and how you're going to respond to that. That's where power lies. How you respond to a situation. You're never going to know what's going to happen to you in life. You can't foresee certain situations, but how you respond to them is in your control.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
How you respond to them, and that's where real power lies. Like when you can see that and control your response. Most people, you get in an argument, you raise your voice, you start yelling. But was it necessary to yell? Did you have to go that route?
Mm-mm.
It's how you respond.
Well, that's because we're reactors. When we first come in, once we get, and it's hard to harness your emotions. That's the biggest thing. But here we are back to feelings again.
Mhm.
And you can harness that emotion, when you can harness that raw emotion and learn how to throw a saddle on that bitch and ride it, you'll learn that you can slow it down, you can pause for a minute, take in whatever just happened, whatever somebody just said to you, think about how you're going to respond to it, as
Right.
opposed to just getting right back into dude's or somebody's face
Right.
and throwing it back, like the old game of tennis.
Mhm.
It's unnecessary.
It is. I mean, it's kind of like what we were talking about before we came on the air, about it could always be worse. That was my life lesson yesterday. It could always be worse. And that came to me because I went to work yesterday. I work for Amazon. I deliver packages. I drive the big truck. I have my regular route every day. It's the same thing. My customers, it's all the same. I get to work yesterday. I don't have my normal route. I'm somewhere else. I have a small ass van. And I'm pissed, I'm like, what? Like, am I being punished? Like, what is the deal? Like, why all of a sudden is this like this? And I physically got angry. Like inside, I could feel myself angry, and all of a sudden, one of the bigger vans shows up, the step vans, like the big UPS vans. Amazon van pulls up, they start unloading it. They come up to me, they go, "Hey, would you rather drive in that instead of this small van?" Like, absolutely. So I do it, hop in the van. Well, my route that I had yesterday, I was out 2 hours earlier than my regular route. So it's one of those things. I'm like, I got to come home earlier. I got to spend time with my family. So the beginning of my day, I'm all pissed off because it's not going the way I wanted it to go.
There's the
It
control.
didn't piece together the way I wanted it to. But in the end, it was actually better than if I would have had everything fall into place, because I would have been home later if I had my normal route. I wouldn't have been able to spend time with my family. So it's like I on the way home, I'm like, today could have been a whole hell of a lot worse. I could have been in a rental van with no cameras in it or anything. I can't see behind me. There's so many little aspects of my job that could have been worse. But like everything fell into place, and that literally, I went home last night driving, and I'm like, I hear you, God. I hear you. I know this is your way of speaking to me to be like, calm down, because it can always be worse. Like I gave you that little bit of, this is how your day could go, but guess what? It's not going to go that way. You just got pissed off for nothing, because your day is going to go this way instead.
Yeah.
And you jumped the gun.
My dad used to call that Our Majesty the Baby. Our Majesty the Baby. Oh, look at how great I am, and this isn't going my way. Let me throw a temper tantrum, inside.
Yeah, and that's one of my character defects that I'm still working on. That I got upset, and like physically it started to ruin my day, which that's on me. That's stupid. That's dumb. Why am I going to let something so small? I know people probably listen to this and be like, that is a ridiculous reason to get angry. But like, you also don't do my job, so you don't know.
Yeah.
But like, it's silly of me to get so upset over that.
You can
like, it's so minute. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
But like, that was God telling me, calm down, boy. Calm down. You're getting out of hand.
Settle down. Everything's going to be all right.
That's it, man. And it could always be worse.
It can always be worse. That's the theme. So,
I mean, there could be people out there, man, that they want to work. No, they want to work, but they physically can't, or maybe they're disabled, and all they want to do is work to get out the house and stay busy. And here I am complaining about a job that I have that I get paid pretty decent for,
that you get to go to. You
exactly.
are not.
I don't have to.
Throw in the backseat of your car. You get to go to someplace because people trust you enough to do a job that requires an inordinate amount of trust and responsibility.
Right.
Because I was unable to be trusted or unable to be responsible when I was knocking down black velvet in my car.
Those Yukon Jack nips.
Yeah. The nips. Old Johnny Nips over here.
Johnny Nips.
So anyway, let's wrap this thing up, man.
All right, bro. Let's roll.
With your family. Another great episode. You can check out the Sober Sessions on Facebook, on Instagram. My boy Joel Anthony always has some really great heartfelt shit on there. Check out the Shot of Hope Live on Facebook and Instagram. Every day I post the Just for Today up there. So if you want some good literature to give you something to work on for your day, I always provide that for you. I also post reels and other stuff that can benefit you and your recovery. If you're new and you're watching this for the first time, you're not sure you can do this, just make it through tonight, man. And the one thing I'll tell you that somebody told me is that if nobody told you they love you today, we do. We love you. And you're gonna, if you trust me, your life may be bad now, but it's gonna be a whole lot better tomorrow, as long as you stay clean. Anyway, Joel, I will talk to you soon, man. I'm gonna click out this outro, bro, and I'll catch you off the air here in about give me about 30 seconds. All right, buddy?